be about our medical clearance appointment that we had in Connecticut. First off, though, I do have my windows open. It's been going between storming and being nice out, so the windows are open. You might hear some road traffic or my wind chimes in the background. And second, I'm getting over a chest cold, so I'm a little bit nasally. But I really just wanted to get the next couple of videos done because they're going to be kind of quick, easy ones. That way I could move on. So we had our medical clearance appointment in September of 2017. So we were mutually matched in June 2017, at the very end of June. And then my husband and I both had to attend a medical clearance appointment in Connecticut. So for that, we flew out from Iowa on September 10th, and our appointment was September 11th, and then September 12th we flew home from Connecticut. So for that appointment, we both had to have blood work and urine screening done for, STDs, drugs, those sorts of things. I don't know if they tested for nicotine. The things that we did with this clinic may not be standard for every clinic. You might not have as much testing as we have. Some don't always have, the spouse of the surrogate attend. Sometimes they can do their screening over the phone. So this is just our experience and what we did with our clinic to get ready for the whole thing. So all of these appointments were very intimidating. I was nervous because these were the ultimate, yes, you can do this, or no, you can't do this. So like I said, we got there, we flew in on the 10th, we stayed at a hotel in Norwalk, Connecticut, and thankfully the weather was really nice. My husband and I were able to kind of tour a little bit, just walk around. We stayed near our hotel and just kind of experienced some of Connecticut. It was somewhere we'd never gone before. And it was also our first time flying together, so that was an experience. I plan on adding some pictures kind of in this video because we did take some on the plane, and then as we landed in New York, and then we took an Uber into Connecticut. That was also our first time in an Uber, so that was interesting as well. We had a lot of firsts with this. So we spent our whole first day kind of just acclimating and getting used to a new area. The weather was similar to Iowa, so that was nice. It wasn't a hard adjustment, but again, we'd never flown together, and I hadn't flown, in 6 years, and my husband, I had been longer than that for him, so both of our bodies really didn't appreciate the travel, so we had to kind of get used to that a little bit. So we spent the whole first day walking around, seeing what there was to experience. We ordered and tried new foods. I had Indian food for the first time and really, really enjoyed it. So we wanted this to be more, we wanted to make it something that wasn't so scary for us. And then on the 11th, we got to the clinic. I want to say it was around noon when we got in, and both of us had blood work. We did our urine test. And then I had to go alone and do a psychological screening on a computer. And again, I don't know that everybody has to do these things. I know for this clinic you do, but other clinics may not have you do so many. And then next, my husband and I met together with a psychologist. We spoke with her. She made sure we understood what we were getting into. And my husband, as much as myself, understood what was going to happen. Next we had, I can't remember if we had our group meeting next, but my husband and I ended up we met with the doctor that was in charge of our case, I guess, and for the same thing. So he medically cleared us where she psychologically cleared us. So we went over the medical aspects, what could happen as far as fertility goes afterwards, the risk that you take with any pregnancy, but with an IVF pregnancy as well. He made sure that we were healthy physically, and then we just kind of sat and talked, and he made it really nice because he didn't intimidate us. He didn't, we didn't feel like we were being questioned, I guess. And then we went to lunch, And when we got back, we walked into the clinic and there was W&J, and that was the first time we'd ever met other than Skyping, and it was super exciting. We got to meet them, we saw them, we all hugged, and it was very interesting. And then I think they had to go do something while we were waiting, but then we had a group psychological evaluation. So the 4 of us got together with the psychologist and just kind of talked about our expectations for this whole thing, what we were hoping to get out of it, just certain things that we had to be sure that we agreed on. Certain parts of the journey that might be hard, we had to make hard decisions, and we had to make sure that we were agreeable to those decisions, because we don't want one person, or one group to say, absolutely, like, yes, this is what I require of you, and then the other group not be okay with that. So we had to make sure that we all agreed. And I thought that was really important, and I also think that that's really necessary. I feel like you should never just go into this process and think, well, I'm going to do whatever they want me to do, because, if it's something that goes against your values and your beliefs, there's going to be somebody out there that agrees with you. So you should never just do what they want you to do because you're worried that you won't be matched again, or that, you're never going to get to do it. To me, that's really important. There wasn't anything that we didn't agree on to begin with, so we didn't really have that issue, thankfully. But I know that some people, I've heard some people say, I'm worried that if I don't agree to this, then they won't use me, and then I can't do this anymore. And I just feel like you should never have to change your morals to fit somebody else's. So, like I said, we all thankfully we had a mutual understanding going into it, what one side expected from the other and vice versa. So we didn't need to negotiate that. That was something right off the bat we knew. So then the biggest thing I can remember talking about was the breastfeeding after baby is born. Some clinics will allow you to physically breastfeed the baby. This clinic, I'm pumping for the baby just in the hospital stay, and then after, baby will either get milk from somewhere else or have formula. But while baby's in the hospital, it was important for me and for them that baby get at least the colostrum, and then as much milk as I could provide while we were there. I'm looking at a C-section in August, so that's 3 days worth. That we wanted to make sure that baby got the best start possible. So then we talked about that. We talked about, how, for example, my husband feels during all of this. Made sure he was heard and understanding that he was just as important in this as everybody else. And then we kind of just talked. We talked a little bit about, each of our, how we were raised, what we grew up with. And it really wasn't a place, again, that I felt like we were being judged. It was very easy to be open. I never felt worried about talking with her. For example, I have a huge aversion to being touched. I don't like it. It takes a very long time for me to be comfortable with being touched. And even sometimes with my husband, I'm not comfortable. I have 2 kids at home. I get touched out very quickly with my kids. By the end of the day, I just want space. And everybody's that way, I'm sure. But in general, I can't handle having people touching me. Hugging, touching my arms, my body, I don't like it. So that was something I felt like I was able to be very open with. None of them, my husband knew obviously, but W&J, baby's parents, and the psychologist, I never felt like they judged me for that, or they thought, oh gosh, that's so strange. So that was really nice. I didn't feel like I couldn't say that. I didn't feel like I had to be accepting of their touches when I wasn't comfortable with that. And we had talked about that in the beginning with the evaluation with just my husband and myself. And she had asked, they'll probably want to hug when you meet. How do you feel about that? I was honest, and I said, honestly, I have prepared myself for that. I was open to hugging W and J because I was just excited for this as they were. I wasn't put off with the idea of, physical touch with them. And I knew it wasn't malicious. I knew, it wasn't anything to be worried about. So as I said, when we met, we all four did hug, and it was very nice. I was not uncomfortable. I had prepared myself for that. So it was not, it just felt easy. I mean, honestly, I felt like I'd known them forever at this point. So after that, we didn't hear right away that we, passed or failed. So we had to wait, and then we had to wait, I think, mostly for the blood work to come back in. And that can take a little bit. They took probably 8 vials of blood from the both of us, if not more. So it was a lot. So then we flew home on the 12th. And then before that, my husband and I were able to visit an aquarium in Norwalk. I can't remember the name of it exactly, but it was a really big aquarium. It was beautiful. Hi! We got to spend some time by the water and just tried to make the most of, our adventure there. At that point, we'd already had our appointment, so it was easier to just kind of relax. We spent the next half of a day and a half, just kind of decompressing from everything, and then we flew home. And then we got home and we got back into our normal routines. And it wasn't long after that we found out, officially that we were able to continue with our journey. So, and then there wasn't anything to do then until November. So one of the other things that we did at the clinic that I forgot about is oh gosh, I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's an ultrasound where they put fluid into the uterine cavity, and then they're able to look at it and make sure that there's no polyps, nothing looks weird. I have had 2 C-sections, so they were able to look at my C-section scar, see that it had healed well on the inside. And so that was another really big part of the appointment, because if anything looked wrong, or if I had any questionable polyps or lesions or anything questionable going on in there, we wouldn't be able to do it. So that was another part of the appointment that was pretty big. So that's kind of all that we did. That was our flight to Connecticut, our stay in Connecticut. And again, this may not be the same for everybody. Clinics may not do as much as our clinic did, some maybe do more. I know that some don't require that your significant other come. They can just do stuff over the phone. But I also was glad that my husband was able to be there. He was encouragement for me. He was a really good source of comfort. So it was nice to have somebody there with me. So that's kind of it for this one. So the next video is going to be on the medication process, and then our embryo transfer in December. And then I'm going to go kind of through into, I think, January with that one. Some big stuff kind of happened in January that we're going to talk about. And then from there, I think the next one after that is our anatomy scan. So we're getting there. I have a fetal echo on Thursday, so in 2 days. As of right now, that's our last ultrasound appointment. And then I have my glucose test coming up. So excited for that. And that's kind of it. Those are kind of the next big things that are going on. And then from there we go on to doctor's appointments every 2 weeks. And we're getting there. So today I am 23 and 5. And I did take a picture, so I'll include that at the end of this video as well. So that's it for this one. I'm probably going to film the next one right away after this. So I'm going to have 2 videos here back to back. So we'll see you in the next one.